Hello, my darlings. You're watching Creative Tucson, Channel 20, and this is Goodnight Goodhart, the all-singing, all-dancing, all-Tucson, all-the-time talk show your mother warned you about, and she was wise to do so. I'm your gracious host, Luc Rollin Goodhart, and we are coming to you live from the Creative Tucson studio in glamorous downtown Tucson. I'm so happy you could join us for another installment of my amateur talk show antics. I'm also very excited about today's guests. They are both amazingly talented artists and have been working like mad in the furthest reaches of the Museum of Contemporary Art Tucson's third-floor atelier as part of the Artist in Residence, or AIR, program. They are, much to my chagrin, also preparing to leave our fair city and return to the endless palm tree-lined boulevards of Los Angeles, where they currently reside. But before they leave us, we have them all to ourselves for an intimate little chat. So before I keep blathering on, I'm thrilled to introduce Bailey Hikawa and Scotty Wagner. Give them that famous Goodnight Goodhart welcome. Thank you, studio audience. Well, how the hell are you guys? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
What did you do today?
Oh.
What do y'all get up to on a Wednesday?
Not a lot.
What did we do today? Well, we are preparing to pack up our studio at the museum.
I know, sad.
Yeah.
So sad. And we have been sorting, de-thrifting, as we call it, unthrifting.
De-thrifting?
Taking things back.
Oh, taking things back to the thrift store.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. De-thrifting.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. It's like debriefing.
Exactly. Putting
Yeah.
things back.
Getting rid of any
returning,
briefs.
Doing our returns.
Yeah.
Doing returns.
Yeah. None of which we did today.
Oh.
We were sorting today.
We were sorting. Yeah. I don't know. Today's a blur.
Preliminary de-thrifting.
Blur to
Today's
me.
a I've just been drunk all day.
I know.
Yeah.
I ate food that was cooked last night. That was delicious.
What did you
And
eat last? What did you eat? What kind of leftovers did you have today? Fast up.
It was so good.
Was it?
I made New Mexico red chili pork adobada, but today I made it into chilaquiles.
Yum.
You know, with tortilla and egg.
Oh my God, where'd you
red
get your
chili
recipe? I
sauce.
didn't know you could cook.
I like to cook.
Full of
You know,
mysteries.
I like to cook. And ever
Contains
since we started going to
multitudes.
Food City, you know, it's just been red and green chili around the house every day.
We love you,
absolutely.
Food City.
Yeah.
Shout out to Food City.
Shout out to Food City.
Fabulous Food City.
Yeah, we just did some of that. We started digging into some footage that we shot and looking at pictures and looking at new residencies to apply to.
Taking screenshots. Yeah, going over footage.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a great day.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was
Sweet.
great.
Fabulous. So I wanted to just, dig in a little bit to your background and kind of how you got your start. First of all, where is home for both of you? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Los Angeles. So I grew up in Hollywood and went to school in Santa Monica and did my undergrad in painting
Okay.
at California College of the Arts in
Oh,
San
right on.
Francisco.
Awesome. How did you like growing up in Hollywood? What was that like? What part of Hollywood, first of all?
Well, I grew up in the Hollywood Hills, and I mean, it's not easy growing up in LA. It's hard, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for other people or want it or wish it for anyone. And at the same time, it was a really special experience.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would be like making videos or being any part of the industry, actually, which I am now. But so on one hand, I think it was kind of awful and hard, and on the other hand, it was kind of inspiring.
Hard about it? Like, what was the challenge?
I think the challenge is growing up with totally unrealistic expectations about what the rest of the world is like.
Interesting.
So growing up, like I remember learning what a Playboy bunny was when I was like 6 years old, going to soccer practice and seeing a Playboy bunny like come out of a hotel on Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, like an actual Playboy bunny, not just like,
and I
okay.
said one, but there was a group of them. There were like 10 of them coming out,
gaggle,
descending.
or what is the
a
plural
gaggle
of Playboy bunnies?
Playboy bunnies coming out.
Tuxedo
An
tails?
exploitation of bunnies.
They were all dressed.
To the nines.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Matching.
Yeah.
Sparkling, coming down into the limousine. But still, so I guess being exposed to that kind of thing at a very young age makes it feel like it's the norm to have this idea of what one looks like, what's happening in the world, what your surroundings are, as anyone does growing up anywhere.
Yeah.
Mine just happened to be like plastic and full of Hollywood industry.
And so did you what did little Bailey want to do? I mean, you said you never wanted to be involved in like video production, or like what was little Bailey's future vision of herself?
That's a good question. I think I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to be like an OBGYN at one point.
Okay.
So I wanted to be an OBGYN, an architect, and like a veterinarian or something.
Those are three really awesome things.
Very
to
normal, and yet here I am. Didn't go that direction.
Yeah.
And what about you, Scotty? Where do you hail from originally?
Well, I grew up in a little town outside of Detroit called Birmingham, Michigan. It's technically a suburb of Detroit. And I don't consider that home. I didn't like growing up there particularly, but I did spend half my time growing up in this little northern town on a lake, and I still go there every year. I spend the summer there.
That
and
sounds pleasant.
Yeah, work with my family doing like a summer rental business that we have there, and that's where I call home. That's the only place that's really home.
And so what was, I mean, I imagine you didn't have gaggles of Playboy bunnies wandering around. Like, what
Well,
was your...
the state park over there, yeah, it's practically a Hugh Hefner Playboy mansion, just a lot more koozies in your hand.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. So I love going back there. But, home also to me is my 1983 Toyota Dolphin. For any recreational vehicle fans out there.
It is a hell of a vehicle.
It's a hell of a vehicle. The supremest of the supreme. 22R, 4-cylinder, gets
Right on.
15 to 19 mpgs highway,
Toyota,
depending
man,
on the
they were
altitude and level of flatness there. But hey, yeah. So that's home too.
That seems like more of a home, really.
And she roams between California and Michigan every year.
So you take that back and forth every year back to the lake?
Yes, I have.
That's super cool.
I've driven it 3 times back and forth now, so that's 6 cross-country trips.
She's still going strong.
Going strong.
Man, Toyota, that 22R.
I know.
They did it right.
They did. They did it right. They did it right.
So how did you both get into art making? You'd mentioned a little bit your kind of education in the arts. So what was
My trajectory?
that trajectory.
I mean, for me, it was going to art school and studying painting and textiles in San Francisco, and then leaving art school and going to work for a set designer, a theatrical set designer in his studio and making models. And then kind of, having my painting practice start melding with a theater design practice and an environment and a sculptural, and I started expanding, and it became, it became a bigger, I knew I wanted to collaborate with others, and I knew I wanted to have a larger art practice, creating spaces.
So fairly early on, your practice kind of started melding more with performance.
Yeah, I guess it did. I almost want to say it didn't, but no, it kind of did.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, my mother's a musician, so maybe some part of me always had performance as a part of my world.
Had you done like any performance yourself prior to that, or were you mostly like?
No, I was
pretty
always a
strictly
visual artist. Yeah.
Interesting.
I was always object based. But I always am drawn to performers.
Yeah. So it was just sort of a natural
Yeah.
next step
I
in
think
your
so.
practice.
Yeah.
That's cool. And Scotty, what about yourself? How did you get to be all this?
Well, Bailey made this, first of all. Yeah.
For Scotty,
But
this is, you know,
couture.
tailored.
Couture.
Yeah.
Does he
Yeah.
have a name? He, she, what?
Our
This.
friend here,
This.
You know what?
free Wi-Fi.
Exactly. We call this one free Wi-Fi.
This is free Wi-Fi.
That's a great name.
Yeah.
Oh, little buddy.
Yeah.
Check out www.freewifi.life. by the
Once
way.
pretty soon when we get it up and running. Check it out.
What is that?
If you think about it in like a month or so. Let's see.
remember, right?
Art,
We'll
coming to art. Well, the short version is I have kind of a musical family, like musical theater, and I started playing guitar when I was like 13 and got just like really freaking serious about it. Once I sort of, I just got deep in like the jam band, hippie scene and stuff like that, and was just like melting out on guitar all the time. I just developed sort of it's a little different when you making art. I find is a little different, but there's something about playing music where when you do it like a habit, if you don't do it for like a day or two, you get it's like a craving. Like you feel like I need to play today, like I haven't done it. And I think that feeling just transcended through other things into just like an overall kind of like creativity. And we call that being productive today. Like, I just don't feel like I've been productive at all lately. I haven't done anything. And that generally just means like creative work in some degree. So, it was music, and then later on I moved to New York City and made all these friends who were visual artists. And then I started to kind of combine the two and make videos that I would write music for, and then started doing animation, and then decided to go back to school, to go to a University of Michigan where they had crazy resources to do all that stuff, and got really into like, experimental film and sculpture and installation, but it's just that compulsion to
So
be
you could have had
creative.
like the opposite trajectory. You started out from a very much performance-based practice and kind of went towards,
And then kind of moved away
somewhere
from
along
that
the
and-
way you two crossed paths. So how did that happen? How did you two meet and start collaborating?
Well, go ahead.
you want me to go?
Let's hear your version.
My version first.
hear
Let's
both
hear
versions.
yours.
Okay.
Rashomon style. No, this is how it happened.
Well, I moved to Oakland in 2012, and Bailey was already living there, and she had a studio in Oakland, and it was like a well-known spot in town, and someone told me to go check it out, so I went there, and there was another artist in residence there at the time named Erin, and the woman who kind of ran the studio space.
What was the
just-
studio space, if you know?
It was called Real Time and Space,
Okay.
RTS,
Okay.
which still stands now and has an amazing residency program and has a great group of
Check it
people.
out.
Real time and space. Check it
Yeah,
out.
Real Time and Space is great.
So that was a space there, and I met Bailey there just by going and hanging out, and immediately thought that she was great, and we became friends. But I guess the first kind of collaboration happened when this other artist in residence was there, and then she and I kind of also became friends, and then she and Bailey became friends. So it's kind of like the three of us were sort of friends, and Erin was writing, and Bailey, was doing sculpture and set design, and then I had this character named Sheila. So the three all kind of came together for this piece called Moem. That was our first collaboration together.
And what was that? What form did that piece take?
That piece was, it was an outdoor experimental space called Shed Projects, run by two wonderful people, Jonah and Emmy. And it was kind of, the Moam piece ended up being like an experimental performance play that was outside, and we had collaborated with another person named Paulette Human Being, and it was a score. There was a live score, there was a set, there was performers, and I mean, it was kind of a traditional audience stage experience.
Yeah, it was entirely monologue based. You know, so Aaron wrote the script for a character of mine, and then a script for this other person named Paulette Human Being, and it was in like 3 parts, and I did one monologue, and then Paulette came up, and then I did another monologue, if I remember correctly.
And then we also worked on 2 other projects in the Bay Area where I was then collaborating with 2 other visual artists, and we invited a group of performers that we had known throughout the Bay Area, actors, dancers, performance artists, pretty much any kind of non-performance artists, regular artists. So we just kind of invited a group of people to then come into the DeRosa, which is a DeRosa collection up in Napa. And we, hello.
1 second, yeah.
And we invited everybody to come and interact with these sculptures that we made collaboratively. So it ended up being like a 25-person show, essentially. But then Scotty was one of the performers that came. So Scotty and I ended up working on these random, very different kinds of experimental multimedia collaborative projects in the Bay Area before we then re-met in Los Angeles a few years ago. When we and then we re-met, bumped into each other. Oh my God, hi, how have you been? What are you up to? Haven't seen you in years. And that's when we started working on Trial Child together, which was our first major project that we did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about that project, Trial Child.
Go ahead. I think you should
Okay.
start this one.
Okay. Well, yeah, so I had written I got a little dry spot here.
Can we get some throat spray? Throat spray on the set here.
I had written this performance that, again, was, you know, an experimental play, but, you know, it was this long, multi-character, just like meta performance that took place on the set of a sitcom. Kind of looked, you know, like what you people can't see, all the cameras and lights and everything. And then I played a range of different characters, and I interacted with other characters on an audio track. And that was a live performance that I did multiple times, and then took a video of it. And it did start with the premise that, thank you.
There we go. Thank you so much. We got good water here, huh?
You know, we're in the desert, right?
No expense here at Creative Tucson.
So it did start off from the premise that there was a society that had created this invention called a trial child, which was a robotic replica of a couple's would-be child. And in that iteration, it glowed green when you were raising it correctly and red when you weren't. So it showed you when you were being a good parent or a bad parent. And but then again, the whole thing was totally convoluted around being also like a sitcom, and you know, and I sent Bailey the video of that, and she watched that, can tell you about that. But then I also went and did my own digging on her website at the same time, looking through her work and the things that I hadn't seen, because we kind of fell out of touch for a couple of years, and we both came together and on this feeling that it was just like, wow, you're going all out with what you're doing. Like, her installations are just so amazing and interactive in the way that they completely take a space over and like embody the person in this new dimension. And I just felt so attracted to that feeling because I like to be transformed by art. That transformative experience is something I really value. So I saw that in her work, and then we were like, wow, let's do something together. So I was like, I'm gonna write a new version of that, and then I got this space. I was at University of California, Santa Barbara, and they gave me this huge space for 2 months. So it was like, Bailey, we can build a set, just shoot a video, and that's how that came about. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, the video, by the way, is freaking hilarious. It's so amazing. We screened it at MOCA a few weeks ago, and I was falling out of my chair shrieking. It was so hilarious.
Luke, we love you.
We do.
We do. We will miss Luke.
We're gonna miss you guys. Do you really have to leave?
You
Kind
know,
of,
we don't
yeah.
really have that much going on, but no, I'm kidding.
That's a lie.
I'm
You've
kidding.
You've got the dolphin. You can just park
We're
it
in
in
a
my
state of
yard.
emergency right now, Luke.
A state of emergency?
Kind of.
Why? What's going on?
Well,
We've got a show in May, and Bailey just lost her studio in Los Angeles, so
I
we've
know.
got to get
Oh
a
my God.
new studio.
drama. It's
Oh my
drama.
God! Wait, is this
Drama.
brand new? This just happened? You
It's
just lost your
just happened
studio?
a couple days ago,
my
and
God.
I also got in a car accident here in Tucson. Not to bring up more drama, that's not what this is about.
That is not what this is about.
However, now I'm going back to LA, no studio, no car,
Ah!
which
What are you
is,
gonna do?
well, I'm shopping for a car and shopping for a studio.
Shopping.
Yeah,
Studio
The
shopping,
cause of
car
and solution
shopping.
to
yeah.
all of life's problems.
yeah.
We
So
like that.
So how did you end
Anyway.
up in Tucson? I mean, how did you dig up MOCA? How did you find yourselves here in the desert?
Well, Scotty was the one who found the application for the museum residency and had a studio visit with Ginger at UCSB during his MFA.
Ah, okay.
So I think that was really how we came here. And it was Facebook. Scotty saw the application on Facebook and was like, hey, we need to apply to this.
Yeah,
And I was like, okay, let's apply.
very cool.
And it was the first thing we applied to together as
Oh,
joint
interesting.
artists, as a collaborative duo.
Uh-huh.
yeah, so that was encouraging.
That's awesome.
Because, it's like, it's funny, there are so many dimensions of, obviously, like, microaggressions in this world that sort of a light, like, jokey one, a little bit, is the collaborative duo, because no application form is made for you. So you have to, like, inventively write in, like, the ways that we came up, like first name, we just write Scotty dash Bailey, and then last name like Wagner dash Hikawa, and then it'd be like email, and then you'd run out of space for like the
Right.
2 emails.
So it's like even in the art world where you're supposed to be pushing boundaries, they're still like
Right.
boxing you.
yeah, it's
Totally.
just kind of like
Totally.
So interesting.
a little thing where you're like, how are we do that? Like, you
Right.
don't let us do this. And then you have to write side notes that are like, we're a duo. Just want to make sure I'm not like one person with 4 names. Yeah, it's just like-
Yeah. It's definitely risky. It's risky.
But yeah, like it would be so much work, I guess, to create like an application for everyone that was also like duo friendly. So
I don't know. You could do something that's sort of like machine learning as you're inputting
That's
it. It's sort of
true.
learning more things about you.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think there's an
So-
opportunity there.
I agree.
So yeah, I mean, we just applied. We just saw it online, and I was like, yeah, I met this person, Ginger, and she just had like great energy. She was here 2 weeks
She was on a
ago.
couple weeks ago, yes. She's
Great interview.
Super awesome. We love Ginger.
We love Ginger. Shout out to Ginger.
Yeah, Ginger, and and I just thought, like, let's just go for it. And so we did it together, and Bailey, is fantastic, I think, at that kind of thing. Just like, makes things look very nice, and
Oh, you
image.
mean like presenting yourself on
Presenting
Presenting the
self,
paper
the presentation
part.
of self.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, like all those things that are like your bio. You know, like I have a tendency to be like, you know, son of a dentist, and my dad had fake teeth rolling around on the floor of his car and stuff.
like,
and
let's
Bailey's just,
I'm like,
let's just draw this
listen,
in.
we're gonna just press this delete, select all,
Yeah,
and let's start anew.
yeah. She's like, they care, but they don't. You know, they
Burn it
care,
down,
but they don't. Yeah, and they don't. Because
Got it.
time, you know, people only have so much time, and that's
true.
important to consider. You know, they're burning through hundreds of applications, so.
Right.
So yeah, we did it, and we were shocked, and we loved that they had a really fast turnaround time. You know, we applied, and they said they'd let us know like 3 weeks or a month later, or something like that. Like it was fast.
Yeah, it's been
when
an
we found out we got
amazing.
it, yeah, we freaked out.
Awesome.
It's been a great program.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So had either of you been to Tucson before this? Like, did you have any idea what you were getting yourselves into?
No, not at all. I mean,
Yeah.
I had never been to Tucson. Actually, I went to rehab in Tucson when I was 19 years old. So I had been here. I'd been to Arizona like 10 years ago. But so this was my return. But I never really got to see the outside world. But every
Right.
time we told anyone we were coming to Tucson, people were like, "Oh my God, you're gonna love it.
They
Tucson's
were.
so
Cool.
amazing." So know that Tucson has a reputation
good rap.
outside that
Yeah,
everyone
the Tuck
goes.
has a rep.
It's interesting, you know. It's
Everyone loves the Tuck. Everyone loves
so hard
the Tuck.
to make the Tuck happen.
And we
And I-
love the Tuck.
We love
About
the
tuck.
tuck.
You just reach in
Yeah.
and it's the tuck.
Look
It's
how
just
easy
there.
it is.
It's been there the whole time.
TUC.
The tuck.
TUC. Tuck.
T. Who's the T?
I'm the you.
Oh yeah, okay. You go C, I'll go T. Tuck. We're tucking.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No.
I find that it has two reputations, a really good one and a really bad one.
Really?
Yeah, like every time you see
Interesting.
it like portrayed on film or like in television, it's like this shithole in the middle of nowhere that's just like
Okay.
meth labs and
Okay.
like
Yeah.
trashy strip malls.
Right.
Yeah.
But then when you actually talk to like real interesting people, they're like,
Humans.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
the best.
All I knew about Tucson was that my dad's friend, who would always clean our house naked when he would come visit, lived here.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's weird, right?
Wait, who cleaned your house in Michigan?
Like, yeah, we'd go to school and everything, and then like inevitably one of my brothers would come home, you know, right after school, and he'd be just like vacuuming naked in the living room.
So is he?
And I was just like, yeah, Tucson, I'll drive around. You know?
Whoa. So you were expecting like a city of 500,000, like just casual nudists?
Naked men with vacuum cleaners.
Not inaccurate.
Yeah, with big eyes.
Whoa. Okay. So that was your preconceived idea of what Tucson was like.
Yeah, a little bit.
What about you? I mean, did you have any expectations or just like going on what people had told you?
No idea.
No idea.
No idea.
And then, you know, having actually been here, what is your take on Tucson?
We're the
We
biggest
love
fans.
it.
We love
it. We
Tucson.
love the Tuck.
Yeah, the Tuck is an amazing city.
The Tuck.
I mean, it's
It
so
really
cool. Like I didn't really have that. I had almost no expectation. I just thought, you know, small-ish desert city. You know, I didn't expect it to be as diverse as it is. I didn't expect there to be such a big, thriving queer scene, which is just awesome. You know, it's got like the best gay bar I've ever been to. I just think
That's
that
good.
Which one?
ITB, IBT.
Oh, God.
you don't like.
I'm going to be
well,
controversial.
Luke's
Okay,
not
we'll
a
be
fan.
controversial.
It's okay. Let's.
Not
It's
the
okay.
biggest fan of that
Okay.
place.
Okay. Well, you know, we're coming in with fresh eyes. Fresh.
I know. That's
new
I love hearing
eyes.
that.
It's just.
We did have fun there.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we had a good time.
Sweet.
It's just a lot of gay bars I've been to are it's split. Like it's either just like all men or it's like guys or women. It's split, and I just thought it was nice that bar was just like everybody all together. That to me felt kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Dancing was good. Music was good.
But it is diverse.
Fun.
And the
Right
food
on.
is fantastic.
The food is amazing.
Yeah, and art, you know, there's
And
like
people are
multiple-
engaged, and I really appreciate that about small communities where, I mean, we've met amazing people, and people are interested in what is happening at the museum, and they want to know, and they come to stuff. And, you know, LA, for example, is also amazing, and you have great, engaged, thoughtful people. But just the fact that it's so spread out, and there are so many people in so many parts of the community, it's hard to,
Hard to hold people's attention in
yeah,
that
and
way.
to navigate, and there's always something going on. So
Right.
of course there's good and bad, but to both, you know, I'm sure you know a lot of your community, and you know.
I mean, yeah, there's just so much to be said for living in a smaller city. Like, who's that you know, guy the Boulder, Colorado guy who's like, I don't know, someone who
CEO or
was
something?
someone was doing this like, you know, big project about like the best city, the happiest people in America.
Oh yeah,
or
they're
whatever.
mid-sized cities.
Yeah,
That's
the
true.
happiest people in America, and he said they live in Boulder, but he was like, basically came up with these things, and it was like, yeah, mid-sized cities where you still have enough like cosmopolitan activity to feel stimulated,
Yeah.
but it's not so overpowering or like big that you're constantly like in an existential crisis.
Right.
Too, which
well, yeah,
LA
I think
is
I've
like.
been, reading
forget
about
it,
that.
you
Like
know?
younger people are sort of like moving away from these like coastal megalopolises in larger numbers
Yeah.
because they're just
Totally.
becoming totally unreasonable. They're far too expensive. They're just becoming playgrounds for the rich.
It's true.
And it's just like not a sustainable or
yeah, and you feel
pleasurable
awful.
lifestyle.
It's
Yeah.
true, and technology is making it so that you can exist in other places
Right.
and still be connected to whatever that that epicenter you're looking for is,
Right.
or your community, whatever that is.
Cool.
So yeah, we love it here. It's great.
Yeah, we'll be
Y'all
back.
are lucky.
Oh, yes, that was like my next question. Okay.
No, but really, we're having a show. We're having a few performances at MOCA in late August.
Awesome.
Middle,
Mid-
late.
yeah.
And
Middle,
is
late.
this going to be the project you've been working on while you've been here?
Well, you know, we started something here.
Uh-huh.
We started a new project that most certainly will be going on for a while because
Right
it's
on.
brand new.
What is
But-
this new project?
But we don't know, and that's
Yeah.
the great thing about this project.
Awesome.
Is that the entire time we have been existing in the complete unknown.
Uh-huh.
But what is this project, you asked?
Or
Another good question that we don't know if we have an answer for
what
entirely
can you tell
yet.
us about this project?
Well, you know, after we did Trial Child and our roles were much more sort of, I guess, distinctly, how to put it, like distinctly our own, we wanted to do something that was more collaborative in its totality. And so what ended up happening with Trial Child was like we did these performances, and once, you know, like Bailey had finished, you know, once we finished working on installing the set again or whatever, then I, you know, did the performance, et cetera, and that was great, but you know, then she's just like sitting in the audience, you know, kind of like watch. Like we went to Minneapolis and did it there, and it's like once our first 3 days were over, it was sort of like, oh, now you're in the audience, and so we were like asking, how can we activate our roles throughout it more? And we started thinking about that, and then at the same time, we started noticing, I think, a lot that we had. Trial Child, I think, showed us how much of an interest we have in technology together, and we noticed
the
we were
idea of the
interested in the
future.
same, yeah, sort of this Sam Harris Waking Up podcast, talking about the future. Bailey's physical artwork I found to be very futuristic looking in a lot of ways. It has a sci-fi vibe, I think.
I think that we came into this project, or we came to MOCA thinking, okay, how can we really get outside of the box of our normal roles that we usually have for other collaborations, and find a middle space between what the ideas that we're interested in, being technology and the future, and psychology and philosophy in our morals and technological morality, and so I think that we did a lot of research. We read a lot of articles and books and did major YouTube vlogging research.
Yeah, we started a vlog.
Scotty even started a vlog, and that was interesting, but really important to the process of figuring out where we are in our world and where we stand as visual artists who are making videos and talking about using technology and using technology to make art and making visual work in a visual world with Instagram and social media. And so it became pretty clear pretty quickly in this process what we wanted to talk about, which were all of these things and ourselves and how we personally fit into these concepts.
Now, how we're going to talk about that was a very different issue. Very different issue.
Totally.
But we had a show a couple weeks ago in Chicago, and Bailey had proposed the idea to do a live stream performance for that.
Since we were here doing the residency.
We had no idea how complicated that was. Jake at MOCA, we love you.
Yeah, Jake, the IT tech at MOCA, we could not have done the live stream without him.
It's just really complicated.
Yeah, which we didn't realize. And also, Creative Tucson really helped.
Yeah,
with
and Creative Tucson, of course, helped so much.
For those who don't know, we did a little collaboration. They did a few animation kind of bumpers for us. We provided them with some equipment. It was a glorious and loving relationship.
So fun.
Maybe they'll slip one in after this little show. But so I think that the live stream, which is a 3-hour durational live stream where we said, okay, we built a set, we're going for it. We had notes, but we really just had 3 hours of freedom to kind of make work. And we discovered so many ideas and concepts and aesthetic relationships.
Yeah. I mean, we had I've been writing songs since I've been here for some reason. I felt during this residency, I don't know what it was, I just got more excited playing music, so I've been writing songs, and then we were under the gun for this live stream performance show, and Bailey was working hard on the set, and I was just writing just little bits, little conversations or whatever, and recording things. So we had 3 hours to fill, and then a bunch of little bits to kind of just do in there and then repeat. And so when we
sounds
did
really cool. I'm so sad that I missed it.
I'll send you the link.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
I would love to watch it.
You can definitely skip around through that. Cool. It is pretty weird.
And
it's weird.
That led to filming the actual video. That was the seed, gave us a lot of information and content for filming the actual video that we did, which we also shot in a very experimental new way, and completely with your help, y'all's help. We couldn't have done it without you, so thank you.
It was a pleasure.
So much, because we're so excited about that work, and
we are super excited to see it. We can't wait. You said you'll be back in August?
August.
Yes.
Right. Well, that is all the time that we have for today, but I have been speaking with Bailey Hikawa and Scotty Wagner. Thank you so much for being with us. Good night, Goodhart, and stay creative, Tucson.
T-U-C-T.